and I won't waste it.
Hello everyone, I'm FARMERSIM and welcome back to Growing the Dream. I hope you're all keeping well and having a brilliant day. So we're picking up pretty much moments after the last episode left off, and as you can see, I've got the cultivator back on the John Deere and we are cutting into what will be temporarily the biggest field on the map. We're joining fields 15, 18 and 19 together here to make one big grass field. Just curious why it hasn't ploughed through that little bit of grass behind me there. I'll check that out in a minute, but I do have allow create fields on. So yeah, we're going to get cracking with this one, and then in a little bit of time, when we've got this job done, what I'd like to do is jump into quite a bit more detail regarding the soil and fertilizer mod. Now, over the last few days, weeks I suppose, since running this mod, I've had lots of comments and I suppose conflicting information regarding whether soil and fertilizer plays well with precision farming. Now, up to now, in my head and in my game, it kind of has been, but the Coding Dad has just recently released another update for soil and fertilizer, and now it does not play at all with precision farming. You can't even have precision farming as a mod in your mod folder. It recognises that it's there and it disables a whole chunk of the soil and fertilizer mod. So if you want to run soil and fertilizer, you will have to temporarily just cut and paste your precision farming mod out of your mod folder and just put it saved somewhere else. And that's what I've now done with this save, because I really do want to dive into what soil and fertilizer brings to the game. And from what I've seen so far, it's incredible. You don't need, from what I understand anyway, you don't need soil and fertilizer and precision farming to work together anyway, because they both do essentially the same thing, but soil and fertilizer does it with a whole load more detail, and it brings to the game, instead of just having in precision farming, for example, we've had the application of lime and, you know, a much more detailed application of nitrogen, whereas this brings a handful more products that we can spray on and spray and add to our fields in order to increase levels of nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium, and obviously we've got the acidity levels, easy for me to say, using lime, but this also brings into the game liquid lime as well. So thankfully for me, so I don't have to, you know, throw in any bits of equipment that I haven't got, like solid fertilizer spreaders or anything. I've got a sprayer, and I can utilize that sprayer for pretty much every application that soil and fertilizer needs me to use. So it's absolutely brilliant, and obviously it does also consider in organic matter as well, which is your manures and your slurries and your digestates and all that. That's not something I'm going to be able to look at in this game anyway, because we haven't got enough slurry and or manure in order to demonstrate that yet anyway. But we can certainly have a look at it in a bit more detail, and it is, now that I've spent a bit of time with it, I basically made a backup copy save of this save game and messed around with it a load and to see what it can do, and it is absolutely brilliant. It adds a load more work to have to be done, of course, and it does also add in a bit more of an expense, but not too much really. It's actually quite affordable, and it's not excessive. It's pretty good in that respect. So yeah, we're going to go and have a look at our soil health, I suppose, and condition in a bit more detail in a bit. Now, as far as I'm aware, from what I've been able to understand from it, it basically does require me, or you, I suppose, or us, to have whatever crops you've got in your field in that field. Now, at the minute, and I am making things a little bit more difficult for myself because I'm joining several fields together in the examples that I'm going to be able to work with today in this video. The empty fields that we've got, they are several fields joined together, so I've made it a little bit more difficult for myself in that respect, but it'll still work. It's still going to be fine. But yeah, we're going to go and have a look at that in a bit more detail very shortly when I've done this job. So I've got about an hour left on this one to get this done, and then we're going to this is going to be a big grass field. So I think what I will do is get this done, and then we'll jump into soil and fertilizer and have a little bit of a better look at it, see what it brings to the game, and then potentially get this field drilled with grass, and then go back into soil and fertilizer and have a look at it once we've got a uniform application of grass drilled, and then we should get some better readings, and then onwards from that, which will probably be in a future episode, I'll be able to address all the shortages that this field contains, whether it's going to need its nitrogen levels topped up, its phosphorus, potassium and all that kind of stuff. We'll be able to do that with a bit more accuracy once the soil and fertilizer mod recognises that it's a field of one particular crop, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I am looking forward to that. So yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit more detail, but for now we're going to crack on with this, get this field cut. And like I said before, temporarily this is going to be the largest field on the map by a few acres. And I say temporarily because when I get down to doing the next field, which is over on the other side of the farm, like I said in the last episode, we're waiting for the mint to be harvested next month. And once that's done and we join those three fields together, that will then be the largest field on the map. So yeah, looking forward to that. So it's all good. And before I cut off here for a minute and throw a bit of music behind this job, I just want to find out why that bit didn't plough under. The rest of it did. Or cultivate under. Yeah. That's a bit odd, isn't it? Or maybe I have to go at it from a different angle perhaps, but all the other bits have worked fine so far. I don't know what's gone on there. Anyway, we'll get cracking, and I'll see you in a bit. Right, so job done, field stitched together, and like I said before, temporarily this is the largest field on the map. It's now sitting at just under 20 acres, which is great, but until we get round to doing the next field after next month, when we've got the mint out the ground, when we do the joining together of those three fields, that's going to stand to be just over 32 acres, so that will be an absolute whopper when it's done. But for now, we've got to concentrate on this field. Now, we're going to go and have a much deeper look into this soil and fertilizer mod. It is absolutely brilliant. It really, really is. And it's a nice in a way, it's a nice refreshing change from using precision farming. I'm sure we've all been using precision farming for quite some time. It's a brilliant addition to the game, it really is. But this soil and fertilizer mod just takes the level of detail that we have had with precision farming and just turns it up to 11. There's so much more to take on board. Finite bits of detail, especially when it comes to the data that we get for the field. It breaks all the fields up into little tiles essentially, but we'll go into that in the menus very briefly. Very shortly. But I wanted to give you all a bit of a tip first. Now, this is something I've just found. I've kind of found out myself through recording this episode. I mentioned before that soil and fertilizer and precision farming do not play ball together, and they really, really don't. I wanted to display to you the message that you get if you load up soil and fertilizer in a save game, but happen to have the precision farming mod in your mod folder, but not activated. And this is the message that it brings up. Now, I've done this morning, to start making this recording. The recording I made yesterday with the cinematic and the cultivating was actually yesterday for me. This is now a new day. So I've loaded, I put precision farming into my mod folder, didn't activate it, loaded into the game with the mindset that I wasn't going to save it and I was going to exit out just for the purposes of displaying that message to you. But as soon as you do that, soil and fertilizer goes completely doolally and stops working. It's still partly in the save game, but a load of the data isn't there anymore. For example, if you can see the soil nutrients box that I've got on the right hand side there, that doesn't appear. And essentially the way you have to fix that is essentially deactivate soil and fertilizer, load back into your save game with no precision farming in your mod folder and soil and fertilizer deactivated, load into a save game, save it, exit, and then reload soil and fertilizer, and then it's basically loads itself. It gives it the ability to work properly by loading itself into a completely fresh save that has no precision farming data or no previous broken soil and fertilizer data. Does that make any sense? And then as soon as you do that, then you get all the information that comes back again. That's just been my experience anyway. So yeah, loading just for the purposes of being able to display that error message you get when you load up has caused me no end of hassle, and it's just taken me about 20-25 minutes just to load back in and out of this game just to be able to show you that image. But yeah, so we're done anyway now, and I've loaded it back in and we've got all the information that we need. But yes, we need to do a little bit of treatment in this field, and as I mentioned before, I've made it a bit more difficult for myself by joining these fields together. So the information that I get in the heads-up display that we'll look at very shortly is I can still act on it and work on it and fix it, but because it's now one big field, I just need to be very careful of where I'm applying certain products. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go and have a look at that in a few minutes' time. What I need to do first, though, I'm conscious of the time. It's 4:05, but I think we should still be all right for a bit. I want to what I'm going to want to do, I need to get back to the farm, and I need to give this beastie a little bit of an inspection, because this has been hard at work. We're now on just under 30 hours work on it. I need to look after it, of course, because it was a pretty sizable investment that we are paying off. So I need to look after it. It is the main workhorse on the farm. Of course, we've got the Massey, but that's not capable of doing half the things that this can. So I need to make sure that the maintenance of this thing is absolutely tip-top. So I need to get this back. I think I need to give it a quick wash and give it an inspection. Drop off this cultivator. Now, I was aware as well that when I was running the cultivator in the field, it's quite light on its front end. The cultivator does hang back quite a bit, and this does have an agri bumper on the front, a bit of a front weight, but I don't think it's quite enough. So the steering does get quite light now and again when you're out in the fields. You can feel it driving along here. It does have hydraulic suspension, air suspension, and you can lower the front end, and this front end is currently at its lowest setting, but it still likes to appear and feel like it wants to pop a wheelie. So anyway, we'll get back to the farm, throw the jet washer over it very quickly, stick it in for an inspection, perform what we need to do, and then we're going to jump into the menus. We'll have a look at soil and fertilizer and see what it brings to the game, because it's properly brilliant. It really is. I know I've said it multiple times before, but the genius that modders are bringing to the game now is just brilliant. It really, really is. Absolutely incredible. So, let's jump out first and foremost. Close the door. And then just have a bit of an inspection. There we go. See if it needs anything doing to it. Oh, okay. Fluids are fine. Radiator is slightly dirty, and the air intake duct is slightly dirty. Now, slightly dirty, does that require me to blow it out with the airline, or should I wash it? I probably should wash it. But let's just give the radiator a good dusting out. And I'm pretty sure you need to do this until the visual dust that we just seen then stops animating, essentially. I'm pretty sure that's about as much as I can do. On older tractors, I know the air intake kind of sticks out the bonnet, doesn't it? But we, on these modern ones, we don't have that. So let's see what the inspection says now. See if I've managed to solve that. Brilliant. Right, okay. Lovely stuff, lovely stuff. Let's quickly bring up this and have a quick look at... Where are we? There are no breakdowns. They have not been detected yet. Good, good, good. Service condition is optimal. Its overall condition is excellent. It's not had any maintenance. Right, okay. Maintainability. Maintainability low. Overhaul. £117,000. No, thank you. Goodness me. Maintenance for 2,360 though. We do need to do that, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I think because eventually we will be running this with the drill to get that grass planted. But I think what I might try and do is run the Massey Ferguson with the sprayer, see if that can cope with it. I think it should be all right with that. I think. So anyway, right. Anyway, let's. What we need to do, we're going to go and have a look at the soil and fertilizer mod, and we can do that from here. So we're going to jump into the menus first and foremost, and as you'll see here, instead of where we had the precision farming on the far right-hand side of our tabs here, you've now got this new section called soil layers. Now, before we go into this, because I'm trying to think about the best way of presenting this to you, because we could be jumping in and out and up and down in all the different menus. But what I'm going to do first is go, if you scroll right down to the bottom here, you'll see we've got a new soil and fertilizer menu section. So if we click on that, and it brings up, you've got an option for the headings here. You've got a farm overview, and you've got a treatment plan. You can filter by fields that you own, or all the fields on a map. And of course, I've just got ours here for just the fields that I own. But before we do that, we'll click on the help section and have a little bit of the overview of it. So basically, you know, as it says, you can pause this and read this at your heart's content, but I'm not going to read through every single bit of it, but I just wanted to show it to you. So if you wanted to take it in a bit more detail, just pause the video here and read it for yourself. But essentially, it gives you 5 new parameters for your soil. You've got your nitrogen levels, which we've all been used to so far, but you now also have phosphorus, you have potassium. These are all products that you can purchase in from the yield improvements menu of where you get your tractors and your tools from. Organic, you've got potassium organic matter, and you also have, again, as we've been used to in the past, the pH levels, the soil acidity that is controlled with lime, and the status levels that you'll see in the color charts when you go into the heads up display. You've got good is green, and fair is yellow, poor is red, and you've got all these different quick start guides and tools and stuff like that here. But if we go into the products menu, products section, as you'll see, instead of just having solid and liquid fertilizer and or manure and digestate to, you know, increase nitrogen levels in your fields, you've now got a choice of different products just for the nitrogen. So you've got UAN, urea ammonium nitrate, you've got urea, AMS, manure, biosolids, and digestate. Then you've got different products for phosphorus. You've got MAP, DAP, liquid MAP, or liquid DAP and biosolids. And potassium, you've got potash or liquid potash. It's the detail is incredible. It really is, and we'll see it shortly when you go into your individual fields. It will give you a guide and a help guide as to what you need to apply into those fields to bring the soil health up to as best as it can be. When it comes to pH correction, as it says, you've got a target range of 6.5 to 7 for most crops. As we've been used to, you can increase the pH levels using lime or liquid lime, but you also have the option, if pH levels are actually too high, where the alkaline is above 7.5, you can now apply gypsum to lower that, which is really, really cool. Previously, when we over-limed a field, if I remember correctly, the color chart in precision farming went to quite a deep blue, I think, did it? It was green when it was good, and if it was over-limed, it was like a blue. But you couldn't do anything about that, could you? It was what it was. Organic matter, of course, you've got your manure. You've also now got compost, biosolids, digestate, and you've got some application tips here, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I just wanted to go into these this main menu first and foremost, just to show you the different products that it brings to the game. You've got a HUD guide here. There's quite a lot to take on board here as well, isn't there? But yeah, lots to take on board. So if you wanted to give this a read in a bit more detail, just pause the video here and just take it all in. So yeah, that's a very, very brief overview of the help menu. But as I mentioned before, you've got this treatment plan and this farm overview. So if you wanted to focus on one particular field, let's, for numbers' sake, let's just pick field 7, which is one of the ones we worked in the last episode. If we double-click that, it brings up a particular treatment plan for each individual field. You've got the section at the top for soil amelioration, where you can see whether it needs any work doing for your pH levels and your organic matter. And then you've got your nutrient application, where it gives you your nitrogen, your phosphorus, and your potassium levels, and it tells you whether you need to apply something or whether things are okay, quite simply. And you've also got crop protection as well, herbicide, insecticide, and fungicide products that you can all purchase. You can purchase all in from the vehicle menu, from the yield improvement section. So it's really, really cool. So as you can see, for field 7 on my particular farm here, the phosphorus levels are fine, but the nitrogen levels need to be dealt with using some AMS, which is ammonium sulfate, and some potash as well. Fortunately, I do, because I've got a sprayer, I can utilize liquid potash, which is really, really cool. So that's what I need to do for field 7. Field 8 as well, which is also joined on to that. This is where things get a little bit difficult in my personal situation, because I've joined these fields together. They're not two separate fields anymore. So whereas field 7 was fine for lime and organic matter, field 8 isn't. It needs lime applying to it, and it also says you can plow in some manure or compost or chopped straw. Now this chopped straw option, I'm not too sure what to do with. I don't know how we can apply, like you can take a straw bale and blow it into a cow barn. I don't know how we apply chopped straw to a field, aside from when you run harvest and you instead of spitting out a straw swath, you just spread it across the field. I don't know how else we're able to do that, so I need to do a bit more looking into that. But essentially, yeah, you can see if you want to increase the organic matter, you can throw some manure onto the field post-harvest and then plow it under to bring up the organic matter levels of each individual field. So yeah, it gives you so much more to do. It's really, really cool. In this case, I need to increase the phosphorus levels of the field using some liquid MAP or DAP. MAP is monoammonium phosphate and DAP is diammonium phosphate. So yeah, it's really, really cool that we've got such a wide range of products to focus on and apply into our soils now as well. It's really, really cool. And you can do all that for all of the fields that you own on your farm. Have a look at them in a lot more detail, and make a battle plan to fix them. Essentially, we can click on the farm overview and it gives you a rundown here. Again, you can filter them by fields that are all over the map or just the ones that you own. Fortunately, looking at the list of the fields that I own, everything is relatively good. There are still things that need to be done in all of them, and you can go into the field detail here and click on each individual one. You've got details of weed pressure, pest pressure, disease pressure. Fortunately, things are okay here. No, so field 4, it does recognise that it... Oh, yeah, this one will recognise it because the lavender is still in a harvested state. If I go to field 7, will it recognise... There you go, you see. Last crop, not recorded. Field 7 was the one that had poppies in. This hasn't been recorded because I've just had to essentially come into the game with a fresh install of soil and fertilizer, and that field had already been cultivated over, so it doesn't recognise that I previously had poppies in there. Had I not done that exercise in bringing precision farming back into the game, just to show you that heads up display, it would have recognized that poppies were the previous crop, if that makes any sense. So yeah, now don't get me wrong, there's a lot of information here, isn't there? You see what I mean about having so much information to take on board. It is an incredibly detailed mod, but it's brilliant nonetheless, and I think for this series it fits perfectly. It really, really does. So yeah, it's a mod I highly recommend, but like I say, that we need to be very mindful of how we set it up. Like I say, don't have precision farming anywhere near your mod folder, for example. It might work fine if you use one of those mod organization apps or programs, you know, where you can select different folder for different save games and have only mods that are running. It may well work fine for that, but for me, I just have my standard mod folder. All my mods are in one place, and I select each individual mod for the different save games that I'm playing. So for me, it doesn't work like that. I've had to just literally remove precision farming completely from my mod folder and save it to my desktop in a safe place for now, just while I do this recording. So it's something to be mindful of, because if I accidentally load up this save game, having put precision farming back into my mod folder to carry on with a different save, I'm going to cause myself a world of problems. So yeah, I've got to be really mindful of that. I'm not going to be able to forget not to do that. Otherwise, I'm going to lose all this information again next time I make another recording. Does that make any sense? I've got to be careful with what I'm doing. So now we can go into, let's go and have a look in our map PDA properly. And as you'll see, you've got this new, where precision farming was on the far left-hand side, you've now got this what's called soil layers, and you can see all the different details here: nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, etc., 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 right the way down. Now we don't have any yield information because we've not done any harvesting now. As you can see, it says yield NA. It does still store the yield for that, because that field is still in a harvested state that hasn't been worked on since the harvest. So fortunately, we do still see that detail. We shouldn't have even though we've got detail for this one as well, which is interesting because I've not done any work in that field. Anyway, so yeah, we can bring up the nitrogen levels, and we can click on what I was mentioning before about each of the individual tiles. Each of the little squares here is an individual tile, and you can click on that, and it recognizes that there's no crop planted, and it gives you a reading for the nitrogen level that is currently in that tile. Now, at the minute, I think most of this field is sitting at 165 parts per meter, maybe. I think that ppm might stand for. Field 18 here, 231, so that's got a slightly higher level of nitrogen in the soil, and field 19 here with 198. But the one I need to focus on before we drill the grass is lime. Obviously, the nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the potassium levels of the fields ideally need a crop in the ground in order to provide you the correct reading for you to apply the correct levels, if that makes any sense. So there's no crop planted in here at the minute, so we're going to need to balance these when we get the grass into the ground. But if I go to the pH levels, this is where it's going to get a bit difficult for me. Field 15 here, pH levels are 6.5 and the condition is optimal, no treatment is needed. Field 19, which I'm still individualizing the fields at 15, 18 and 19, but this is one big field, so this is where it gets a bit awkward. This side of the field is overlimed. It's currently sitting at 7.2. Now the treatment, it says allow to normalize, so I could spread gypsum on here, I think, in order to bring that pH level down a bit, but I don't think gypsum can be used in a sprayer. I might be wrong with that, but I think gypsum is just a solid product that you spread with a solid fertilizer, but we'll have a look at that shortly. I'll find out. But the bit in the middle, field 18, is very acidic with a pH level of 5.4, so I've got to treat this section of the field with lime, but try and not treat this bit, and not treat this bit either, because this bit has already been over limed, so I need to be very careful with that. But I've got no real way of spraying liquid lime in this section of the field without risking going over the edges here. But it's all a learning curve. I'm looking forward to it. It should be fine. But yeah, I'm conscious that this section of the video is now almost 20 minutes long, but this was the whole point of this particular video, to go into this soil and fertilizer mod in a little bit more detail. There's no way of being able to go into a mod like this in 2 or 3 minutes. There's too much to take on board. So I do appreciate, if you still are watching, I do appreciate it. There is a lot to take on board. So what I need to do now is, first and foremost, is go and purchase a couple of IBCs of liquid lime from the store. We'll nip down there in the JCB now and go and pick up a couple of these IBCs. I think the sprayer takes about 4,600 litres of product, and we've got 2,000 litres in the IBCs. In fact, that's what we'll do now. We will jump into, I'll just show you the products that you can buy when you go to your vehicle menu. So inside the yield improvements, you've got your consumables. Double click on that, scroll down a bit, we'll go right to the bottom for a start off, but there you go. It brings in all of these different products. Right at the bottom of the solid products, you've got all of these here: pelletized manure, chicken manure, big bag of biosolids, compost, gypsum. There we go. So we've got a big bag of gypsum that can be spread to reduce the pH level in a field, and you've got big bags of potash, polyphosphate, DAP, MAP, AMS, AN 34.5 urea. This, see what I mean? There's so much to take in. Liquid lime, fungicide, insecticide, liquid potash, liquid DAP, MAP, AMS, urea, and like I said, I don't think there's any liquid form of gypsum. So in this instance anyway with this mod, so yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything unless I spend a load more money and lease a solid spreader to buy in some, where's it gone, gypsum here, to reduce my acidity levels. So yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this and I'm going to buy 2,000 litres, which will come in at just over £1,900. We'll get that bought, get those bought. I'll nip down to the shop, go pick them up with the JCB here, and I'll pick you up in a few minutes time. I'll get down there, get this picked up and come back here. We're going to jump in the Massey, hitch up the sprayer for the first time this series, and go and see if I can concentrate on just that central section of my stitched together field, and see if I can just increase the pH levels of that bit without going too far over the edges. And yeah, causing an over liming of more of the field. We'll have to see. But I'll tell you what though, this smaller trailer is way better suited to this farm and this machine, this telehandler. It really is. So anyway, right, I'll shut up for a bit, I'll go and get this done, and I'll see you back at the farm very soon. Right then, a couple of IBCs purchased here, 4,000 litres of liquid lime. Let's go and get it loaded into the sprayer and see if we can get this section of the field improved with its pH levels. Now, going back to the previous episode very briefly, just wanted to give a big shout out, and again as I always do, to a whole host of you wonderful people for giving me the pointers and a bit of help and advice when it comes to things I was getting a bit lost with last episode, which was the egg production with the chickens, and also the grain drying process that we have in our grain dryer. Now, when it comes to the grain drying, essentially the grain drying process does exactly that. It reduces the moisture levels of the grain. It doesn't improve the quality. That quality I believe is only improved when when it comes to harvesting at the right time. So technically, I don't think I harvested my crops at the correct time because the moisture might have been too high. So yeah, I'm not going to be able to do anything about the quality of my grain. It is going to be what it's going to be, but I can bring the moisture levels down. So in fact, we can actually look at that now. Bear with me. Just bring up the menu. Where are we? Shift and M, isn't it? No, that's not working. It's not bringing it up when I'm in the vehicle now. So let's just get this sprayer attached. I'll jump out of the cab and see if I can bring the moisture levels back up again. Right, there we go. Should be at the right point. Let's jump out. Right, so no. Oh, there we go. Right. Left shift and M when you're out of the cab. So these are the moisture levels we want. Barley 12 to 14%, and the wheat is 11 to 13%. So that's yeah, those are the areas, the moisture levels we want to be achieving in our silo. Let's just have a quick run round and see where they're at now, just get an idea. But yeah, the quality won't improve. I think I can sneak round the back here. There we are. So the wheat moisture is 13.4 and the barley moisture is 14, so we're almost there with that. So barley almost at bang on there, and the wheat, what did I say it was at? 13.2. So again, we're almost at the we're almost within the confines of the right moisture levels for the barley. And the wheat, the linseed moisture, the quality's at 100% and the poppy quality's at 92%. What's the poppy moisture need to be? 8 to 10%. It's a bang on 10%. So, but essentially all of our crops are at the top level of moisture, so I think maybe a few more hours potentially of drying, and we should be right with them. That's all good. So anyway, let's get back to this. Around here. Get that connected up. That's all good. I'm pretty sure this Massey should be able to cope with the sprayer. Right then. Get the door closed. And I think all I'm going to be able to do here, there's not much in the way of realistic options available to me for filling this up. So I'm just going to reverse up to the trailer. Trying not to scratch it on its first venture out, and I should be able to just, yeah, refill it. There we go. So we'll fill this up. This should take both of the IBCs. Now I did do some testing with this yesterday I essentially made a copy of this save game and tested this all out, and the liquid lime does seem to be it seems to go quite a long way, thankfully. I know I've always been used to lime. Oh, there we go. I do have the trailer fill limit activated, which is probably a good thing, considering this Massey doesn't have a huge amount of power. So yeah. Right, anyway, round to the field now. And we'll see if we can get this central section of this one big field limed. Right, okay, here we are. Now, another feature of the Soil and Fertilizer mod, it does have a heads-up display that you can bring up on screen. Now, I've never been a fan of heads-up displays, but for the purposes of this here demonstration, I will show you. So, you press right shift and question mark, the button directly next to right shift, and it brings up this heads-up display. Now, you can resize all this if you press left shift and B. As you can see, it brings up the options. You can resize the heads-up display, but I'll leave it as it is for now. I'm conscious that when I do step into the field, though, I think we might get a bit more detail crop up around it. Possibly. We'll see. But let's get this unfolded. Now, this isn't going to take too long because this has a spraying width of 18 meters. As you can see in the center of the soil monitor heads-up display there, it says automatic application rate is on. If you press right shift and L, you can turn that off. So that's how you toggle between the automatic application rate. So I think that's what we're going to need. And what I am going to have to keep doing is referring back to the menu. So I've positioned myself quite well. Now I think I've got a little bit of a safety buffer in respect of these darker tiles here that run between these three sections of fields, essentially, because this is the area that wasn't a field previously. This was the grass borders, the verges, or whatever you want to call them. So I've got a bit of a safety buffer there, but I'm roughly, I think, around the right place. So let me just square myself up to the edge of the field a bit better there, and then we want to turn on. There we are. Now we do, obviously, with the Soil and Fertilizer mod, you do get the animations, which is great. So let's just, there we are. Right, I just want to turn, I'm going to do this carefully, you see. I don't want to over lime and I don't want to just waste the product. So there we are. Now it does look like, I think it is already improving these sections. So I am a little bit close to what is my right, this side here, but I think we turn that back on again. See, I'm also trying to be conscious of the fact that I've told myself that I'm not going to be jumping out of cab for this. So I'm trying to do this as best as I can. But if we just keep ourselves roughly in this direction. Let's see if I can spin around here without going too far onto the grass. Through the hedge. Let's try that, shall we? Oh, look at that, and you also do get those little green markers on the field there. Right, let's keep going along like this, because I'm only going to have to do this central section, aren't I? So far, so good. So let's just come to a stop, turn that off, and just see where we are in the heads-up display. Yeah, it's definitely doing something, isn't it? I think. Yeah, some of those darker tiles have certainly changed to green. Right, okay. Yeah, right, I'm going to keep doing this. I'll speed it up a bit, potentially. And I'll pick you up in a bit. I'm going to keep all the heads-up displays on, just so I can keep an eye on things. There's a lot to take in there, isn't there? But, yeah. Trying to make sense of everything that's in front of me here. Anyway, see you in a minute. Right then, okay, so I think I've done, but there's still questions to be asked, I suppose. So with all the heads-up displays that we've got, it's quite a bit overwhelming, isn't it? But I've been trying my very best to get the levels exactly as they want to be, but so far I haven't been able to do that. So I bought, as you can see from the bottom left, I bought up the little mini-map, because that does give a better indication just of the direction I need to drive just to cover this particular spot, because you can see the large field we're in here, if you look at the mini-map there, is split into the 3 different colours, so I've got that to refer to. So I've been, as you can see from the pattern, from the spread pattern that we've got on the field now, I've covered field 18. But if I go into my heads-up display, into my PDA here, as you'll see, the green here corresponds to an optimal level of pH, 6.6. Field 18 here is still at 6.1. It says slightly acidic and is telling me to apply lime. And I get the same message when I go into the treatment plan and I go to field 18, which we are currently in at the minute. Where's field 18 gone? There we are. Apply lime or liquid lime to raise the pH levels, which I've literally just been doing. So, yeah, just trying to figure out exactly what to do. Now, I've been able to, using what I've got in front of me here, if I, as you can see, I was toggling on and off the application rate, whether the automatic application rate and or the variable. So if you press Shift and L, you activate the automatic application rate, which is great. The variable rate, you turn on by pressing Alt and 7. And that brings on the variable rate there as well. And I also did give myself a keybind for if I turn off the automatic application rate, and then I've bound these instructions to shift and up and shift and down. But if I press shift and up, as you can see, I can manually increase the application rate. But if I go too high, as you can see there, it now says burn risk possible. I mean, the detail, it's incredible, isn't it? If I go above 449 litres per hectare, I get the message to say the burn risk is possible, and upwards burn risk guaranteed. You go right to the top there and you can get quite excessive. So I kept everything low, and I've tried every variation of every setting I can find, but I still can't seem, unless I just need to give it time. There were a few moments during that job there where there did seem to be a few seconds of lag in the game. So whether because it is such a detailed mod, whether it is trying to just recalculate things, I don't know. But I've done what I thought I need to be done. But as you can see from the soil monitor there, it says the pH levels are still at 6.1 and are fair and not good. So what I need to do from here, I don't know. I've done what I can do. It doesn't want to apply any more lime. I did get a message pop up on the screen. I wasn't quick enough to press the screenshot before it disappeared again to say field 18's lime level has been completed, which is great. But I suppose the colour charts speak for themselves, don't they? This side is still over limed. This side is still slightly acidic, and this side is perfect. So again, as I seem to do here in every episode, you wonderful folks out there who know a lot more than I do, am I doing something wrong here? I do not know. I've applied lime exactly as I felt I should be. I've tried all the different varieties of application rates, variable rate on or off, automatic application rate on and off. I've managed to cover the area of field that I needed to cover, but I haven't been able to bring it to the perfect pH level. So yeah, still need to do something with that, I think. But anyway, let's get rid of those heads-up displays because menus drive me nuts. Anyway, right, so I think for today's episode, though, I have droned on enough, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, I really did want to just dive into a little bit more detail about this incredible soil and fertilizer mod. Like I said before, it's one or the other. You can stick with precision farming or go with soil and fertilizer, but you've got to keep them far apart, essentially. One benefit, though, is I don't have to do any of the precision farming scanning data. I haven't got to rent at least one of the scanning tools and scan in all the data. You don't need to do that at all, which is that's going to be a money-saving tip for me anyway. And one slight less, I suppose, in that respect, there's one slight less bit of faff to have to deal with, but at the same time, a whole load more taking on board all this incredible information that Soil and Fertilizer now brings to the game if you choose to use it. But I recommend giving it a go. I will put the link to the Coding Dad's GitHub page where you can download the latest updates for Soil and Fertilizer. But I really do highly recommend giving it a go. There's a lot to take on board. I appreciate that. And like I said a couple of episodes ago, I think I'm one of these people who I learn best by just doing and not. I can't necessarily take things in very well if I just sit there and read a wall of text. I need to go out and do it, make the mistakes, learn from them, learn as I'm going, and it just sinks in better for me. So yeah, doing it like this, I suppose on the fly without really knowing exactly what it brings, helps me take it in better. I think that's all I can say. But anyway, there we go. So for this episode, though, ladies and gentlemen, what are we on? Just gone 5 o'clock, so that's perfect time to call it here. So yeah, I'm going to call it here for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I really do hope you have enjoyed this one and found it a little bit of fun and a little bit interesting. If you're new to the channel and you've liked the video and you like the way I'm doing things, please consider hitting that subscribe button and jumping on board, joining the channel. Please hit that like button too, as it does do wonders, helps the YouTube algorithm do its thing. And if you like the idea of supporting the channel, there are a number of ways you can do that. There is my Giants Partner promo code, if any of you are in the market for purchasing Farming Simulator 25 or any of its add-ons or DLCs. There's coffee.com if you'd like to buy me a coffee. And there is also my G-Portal affiliate link, if any of you are in the market for purchasing an online server to play with your mates. Any help and support there, ladies and gentlemen, as always, would be massively appreciated. So, thank you very much for your time again, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.